All right, here we are in time for qualifier number 2. So this is the Fischer Random Championship non-titled qualifier number 2. We played in the first one, didn't qualify, but we're going to give it another go here. 98 people signed up so far. And our ranking is somewhere 61st right now. 61st. So I played pretty well the first qualifier, but had a couple good positions that I let slip. A couple tough games. But I was pretty happy with it overall. I think I played better than I expected. So I think I can give it another good run here. Based on the first qualifier, you need a score of 7 out of 9 to have a chance to qualify, and 7.5 probably to guarantee it. And so last time I was 2 out of 6 for the first 6 rounds. The best I was going to do was 5, so I took a break for lunch to recover, since there are a total of 32 qualifiers for each Sunday. Okay, so 1 minute until we get going here. So we'll probably get paired up the first round. But I think we can give it a good fight. We need to pull a couple upsets if we want to have a chance. Okay, this guy that's in 5th, seeding-wise, I'm pretty sure they already qualified. I don't see any of the other top people. The guy that's in 10th, he almost qualified last time, but not quite. Okay, here we go. Mugwort is our first opponent. 2100. Interesting. Seems like it makes sense as a first move. Could play like a Scandinavian type position, but I don't think so. I think E5 makes sense. Let's guard that pawn, develop our knight. Develop this knight, and then maybe look to play D5. D5, pawn takes, knight takes. Yeah, D5 looks pretty good here. Let's go for it. I think Mugwort came pretty close to qualifying in the last one. So we have some high-rated players in here. But the ratings are not as indicative as they would be for classical chess, since a lot of people are very provisional in their ratings with 960. Okay. So I could just play one of my knights to f4 here, which actually looks pretty strong. Wonder if it would matter which knight. This knight, if I move my G knight, then the E pawn is weak. So let's go after that G pawn. So I just missed the cutoff to play down the first round, which is why I'm playing up so far this round. against the 11th seed. Okay, so he's just going to give up the pawn. He's going after my pawn. So I think if I just defend my pawn, then he could bring his queen over to guard, but it still seems like this would be good for us. Then the real question is, how do we get our rooks involved in this game? And then I'm thinking bishop c6 here. Then I'd like to move my queen so my rook can go to e8. And then I'd like the queenside castle. Okay, so he does put his knight up there. I was wondering if he would. So maybe queen d7 now would be a good move. And then rook e8 and queenside castle would be the idea. No one's finished their games yet. Time control is 10 minutes with a 2-second increment, so a little bit slower than most of our tournaments that we play. Okay, so he's trying to expand on that side of the board. Makes sense, but I don't think I'm worried about it. I think we'll continue with our plan of rook e8. Now he's going to try and kick that knight away. All right, now I've got my rooks involved. So next we're looking for a way to get at his king, perhaps. I should be fine in this position, it feels like. Completed my development, gotten my king safe. I think a lot of my pieces, if anything, are better placed than white's. Queen g4 might be an idea. Got this real nice knight on d5 right now. My dark squared bishop could probably use a better square, but we'll get there. Okay, now I've got ideas of the knight jumping up to f5. And maybe a knight even into d4 at some point. Now maybe queen g4 and try and pick up that pawn. Or I could just play knight f5 and say that that trade is probably good for me. We're both hovering right around 7 minutes at the moment. All right, people are starting to win their games. So if I take the knight, then he can just take my knight back. I could move my knight, and then he's going to exchange queens. But that might be fine. I could move my knight to d4. Then my rook would capture. I don't think g6 is any good here. So he's probably going to exchange queens here. I can attack the rook. The rook moves. My knight's going to get trapped in there. All right, got to back up here. But then I also have ideas of playing knight b6, hitting the bishop, and my rook is on d3. That looks like it could be good. Okay, let's hit the bishop. Bishop takes, I assume. Makes sense. If knight c5, I just come back. Or if knight c5, I take his bishop. Or knight f5, sorry, knight f5. Ah, I missed that. Go here. It takes the knight with check. Yeah, I think that's going to be all she wrote. All right, I felt like we played pretty well. Just let things slip. I guess knight b6 doesn't work. Oh, unless after he takes the pawn, I have to take with the knight. Oh, but then he takes on c or an f6. Yeah, so maybe the position's already a problem as soon as he played a6. Okay, so if I take on a6, yeah, I guess the knight b6 idea just doesn't work. Okay, let's see what the top games are that are still going. Fix the screen for you guys, okay? So here, white is up in exchange. I think this is the top seed overall. Here we can see the people that have finished so far, including my opponent sitting right there. If I only lose to people that are rated 2100 or above, then I should do pretty well, since only about 10 people were rated that high. So black played fairly well this game, but they are down the exchange still, and they're down to 30 seconds, so not a lot they can do. Oh, did he just get the exchange back, though? Maybe he just grabbed that exchange back. So bishop g2 might not have been good. We'll keep our eye on this game. Liam Chess won his game. So if white can get that knight to move, then they're going to end up with a checkmate here most likely. Although the knight can't go to a5. Okay, so he's going to gobble the pawn instead. Black is coming in with the knight. Trying to checkmate here. And trying to force the queen trade because this endgame should be good for white. Since they're up. Oh, I guess they're not up a pawn. Black's down to 5 seconds, but now there's not a ton of play in the position. Oh. Did it with 0 seconds on his clock. But now his knight's going to get trapped. Oh, and he's out of time. Put up a good fight. All right, we'll go to the next top game that's still going. White has 2 pieces. Okay, so black has 2 pieces for a rook here. And pawns are even. So this knight is kind of iffy, but it probably can escape. This rook isn't too good. All of black's pieces seem to be playing, which is a good sign for them. Still quite a few games going here. I'm going to take this moment to go fill up my water before the next round. Okay, so black ended up winning by checkmate in that game. Let's see what the next top game still going is. Black looks completely winning in this game. How does white even stop checkmate? Okay, and that's checkmate. Wow. All right. That's a big upset. Refresh this list of games. And here we see that black's up a piece, so they're taking care of business there. So that's not too exciting. Okay, here looks like white's taking care of business. Looks like black's likely going to get checkmated here. And in this game, white just won by checkmates. So let's refresh everything. All right, so we've only got 7 games left in the first round. Here, white is clearly winning. This position looks pretty exciting. Black is up 2 pieces, so maybe it's not exciting. Okay, so black is just up 2 pieces. But we'll see how black finishes it. We'll just leave it on this one for now. Since the round should be over momentarily. So a couple upsets near the top, but not a huge number. I can't tell if this is stronger than the first tournament or not. It's slightly smaller, so I'm guessing it's not overall stronger. Although it has a few more higher rated players at the top with 4 players at 2,400. But maybe 1 or 2 of those guys can be knocked off, and there'll still be a few spots up for the rest of us. Okay, it's the end of that game. This is the final game, which black is winning. Although it looks like it was a close one. All right, and with that, round 2 commences. Targeting this pawn right away. Steve is 5. Good luck to him. Popular player on the site. Often hosts my stream on Twitch, so I appreciate that. Okay, so where is he? Hopefully he makes his move on time. There he is. Okay. Let's take some space. Probably this knight's going to d3 at some point. This knight's probably going to end up on f3. Support the pawn, open up our bishop. Okay, now I can try and get my knights more involved, perhaps. I can also try and fianchetto on the king side. Yeah, let's do that. And then I can even look to castle king side. My knights aren't super happy in this position, but we'll figure it out. Knight f3 next, perhaps. And maybe try and get a knight to e5. Looks like a good square. Something like that. Complete our development. But how do we get at his king? It's a pretty symmetrical position so far. I have to get into here, not a great way to do that. Unless I had something like this. Okay, maybe we'll start by jumping this knight in. Just to see what he does about it. No real danger for my king or any reason to put my rook on the f file, so we'll be patient with castling. Yeah, that's a good move, I think. Okay, guess I'll just castle now. Take once and jump my second knight in. Or just play something like a3. Or bishop b2. Try and get this bishop slightly more active. Might even have ideas of going to c1 at some point. Okay, here we'll just take. We've got a bit of a time edge, but I'm not sure how significant it really is at this point. How important that is going to be. Okay, do I take his bishop first, I guess? No. Probably just capture back first. If he checks me, I guess I'll just go back to g1. I don't think my king's in any real danger here. Okay, I should get my king out of check so I've got the threat of knight c6. If he takes on d4, knight c6. If I played it right away, he could pin it. And then I could have pushed the pawn, but it doesn't feel like there's enough there. Pressure on the diagonal is good for him. Okay, so now I've got knight c6. You actually have to be careful where the queen goes, or I have knight e7 check. So the king can't go to, or the queen can't go to c8. Goes anywhere else, I take the rook, and then I take on d4 probably. And it's an exchange. Game's not over, but it's an exchange. You can see my first round opponent has already won their second game. Guard these pawns and threaten to take on f6. Also looking for rook c1. Should be able to just take that. Has to move his knight so it's still guarding his bishop. Or that. That works too. Maybe rook c1 anyway. With the idea of going to c8. I guess d1. Can't go to c8, it's covered. But I can threaten to go to d1. Okay, and if I attack the queen here, I should just be winning a piece on f6. Or if the queen goes to e7, I just take on f6 with the rook, and then I'm up a clean piece in the endgame. So the pressure along that diagonal did it. Now the wins are starting to come in. Okay, now we can just take on f6. Yeah, because he doesn't even have a check. Because my queen's covering c1. And now the threat is to move rook d8. Okay, and now he checks. I move up. And I'm going to play rook d8 next, and he'll get mated or give up his queen. Oops. Check and checkmate. Or check and checkmate. All right, good game. Steve is 5. So I'll bring up this top game. Okay, this is still right in the heat of battle here. Queen exchange. Material is even. White has good control over that F file. But black's knight is much better. Still double-edged. We're going to have a little while until the next round here, since that game ended pretty quickly. I don't see any particular games that stand out to watch, so we'll leave this one up for now. Looks like there have been 4 players to pull some upsets so far. Maybe just 3. Depends on where that rating cutoff was. Now I guess, yeah, at least all 3 of these guys had to pull an upset. I don't think, yeah, these 2 probably didn't have to yet. But anyone below 1900 has played up so far. We already have 12 people starting 2 out of 2. not showing me the 1 out of 2s. There we go. There we are. Updated now. Alright, so what's going on now? Black is up a pawn. White has a passed h-pawn. The white bishop on g2 isn't doing a lot. The white knight on c3 is not doing a lot. But black's pieces are kind of tied to the e6 bishop at the moment. So that's not ideal for him. So what does black do if white just starts pushing the h-pawn? The white king appears to be pretty safe here, since the a file is not open. There's not really any way to get the rooks over to attack the king, even though if you could just transport a rook to the back rank, it would be close to mate. Black can't push d4 at any point because the e4 pawn is weak. So where's this knight going? Probably the e5. Okay, now that pawn's going to get a bit closer. But it's now become a g-pawn, which is not ideal for white. Because as a g-pawn, the bishop for black covers the queening square. So I'm not sure if that was ideal. Yeah. I think it was more dangerous as an h-pawn than a g-pawn. If everything trades here, if everything trades here, then black will be able to walk the king over. Now it's interesting. White takes the bishop, black takes the bishop, then their back rank ideas. Finally, black's gotten one of their rooks active. And the black king's on a good square, so that there's never any rook checks and then queen. Although, what does black do if rook e8? Rook e8 attacking the knight and threatening the queen? Yeah. But he has 2 pawns for the piece. Take the pawn. White takes the knight. Black plays c6. And then white has to figure out if they can make progress or not. That's a good check to throw in to make that knight passive. Yeah, it's going to be hard for white to win this, even with the extra piece, because it's going to be hard to keep those 3 pawns. White needs to find a way to get the knight, probably to d4, so maybe knight f5 and then bring it to d4 here. Black's trying to guard the 6th rank so that the white pieces can't team up on c6, as is likely white's goal. I'm not sure which side wants to trade rooks here, though. Okay, so now white is trading rooks. But how does white win this position? It should be pretty easy for black to trade off these pawns. Now, I'm not sure if black actually has any winning chances here. I guess they've got winning chances, but... That's a nice move. Okay, now white shouldn't be in any danger of losing. Because black's not going to be able to make any progress here. This is going to just be a draw, I think. Unless one of them really continues to push. Down to the final 10 games. We're going to leave this one up because it's an interesting endgame and one of the top players. The only one of the top 10 seeds that's still playing. White's got to be careful of black pushing b4. Yeah, exactly. Now that knight's getting awfully far away. He should still be fine with knight e3 and being able to come back to c2, but white's piece is really drifted over to the queen side there. Capture, play knight c2, and then bring the king back. Maybe something like, okay, I was going to come to this square, and try and get the b2, but maybe this works fine too. Gotta be a little careful, yeah. Probably play knight a1 now so that the king can go to c2. Ooh, but now black's gonna get a second pawn here. I don't think I like that. Yeah, and white's just going to be out of moves here. I don't think this was the way to do it at all. But maybe black can't force the king off of these two squares. So maybe it's still fine. Here... Okay, here. Oh. I guess that works too. Yeah, now white's just losing their pawn. And if here. That works too. Just lose a move. Wow. What a game. What a game. Black had to work for that one. All right, what do we still have going? 2 games still going. 2 games. Okay, this should be a draw. But white is down to 6 seconds, so anything could happen. I mean, there's really no way for black to win, but if the king just stays connected to the bishop, because there's no way for black to win the pawn. Just don't step back to the 4th rank. Oh, he ran out of time. Oh, he just had to go back where he just came from. Wow, that's painful. Okay, and the next game has started. Playing up a good ways again. Let's see what we can do here. Okay, he moves his knight out first. Guards this weak square. This square is also pretty weak. Let's go here. And then I'm going to go here, maybe? Got to worry about this square a little bit. I'll go here also. Gonna play my bishop out and maybe bring my queen over to c8 instead of pushing the e-pawn, because pushing the e-pawn doesn't seem to do too much in this position. And now maybe I play knight e6. Try and get into this hole that white has created. Let's go here first. Now I could play a move like knight c4. Or knight f4. If I play knight f5 here, I'm attacking the bishop. And I'm trying to just win the d-pawn. Because I have 3 attackers on it. So that looks good. Okay, now I should be able to just take the pawn. But which way? Probably with the f-knight. Looks correct. Then I'm threatening to take the pawn on c2 also. I'm also threatening the bishop on f3. The pawn on e2 has some pressure on it. All of those seem like good things. Okay, now I could take with the bishop or the knight. Taking with the knight seems to make sense. keep my strong bishop. Okay, now I'm thinking bishop h3, then I take on c2, and then I get to play knight e3. But does the order matter there? Knight takes c2, queen attacks, and my knight doesn't have a great square to go to. So let's start with this move. This also means that I can play e6 if I really want to now. I don't think he has time to take on d5, although he might try it. Okay, he does. So here, if he attacks my knight, I take his knight. Could also just play a move like c6 and attack his knight. Take his knight, he takes back, and then what? I could also just move knight d4. Is that a good move? I also have the move bishop d4. Bishop d4 check. I can also move my bishop back to guard my knight. If I attack his knight, he takes this pawn. Attack the knight the other way, he takes that pawn. No, doesn't work. e6, he takes my knight, I take his knight. Okay, let's try this. Okay, we go here. And then castle. So he got his pawn back, but I've got the bishop pair. My position should be good. Okay, let's get this bishop to move. don't think I want to move my rook to the d file. Seems dangerous. I could move queen g4. Also seems awfully dangerous. Queen c7 might be a good option. Yeah, I think I like that. Then there are possibilities of moving my rook, and f7 still covered. This diagonal my bishop or my queen could go to. A little under 4 minutes though, so need to be careful. Let's throw in this check. I think I still have f7 guarded enough. Although I'm going to have to find a way to get my bishop on h8 into the game. Okay, maybe we just pin this knight for now. Okay, the knight still can't really go anywhere. Down to just over 2 minutes, but still seems like a good position. Put these standings back up for you guys. A few people are 3 out of 3. These light squares are so weak. This position feels like it should be winning for black. Don't want a queen trade because his king is more exposed than mine. My bishops are dominating the board right now. Queen c4 should lose. To queen f2. I can also always play my bishop back to e6. Yeah. Okay, let's do this. Just tickle him a little bit. Keep the pieces on the board. Maybe it's a little risky, but now my queen's in. My bishop's coming to c5. Down to a minute. Still can't play queen c4. Is my queen trapped somehow? Maybe it is. What? How could my queen be trapped here? Wow. Looks like my queen just got trapped somehow. Maybe I did need to trade queens. Yeah. Darn. Queen got trapped somehow. So what could I have done differently at the end there? Here, I guess I have to trade queens. So maybe this check wasn't the best. No, trading queens here should be fine, but perhaps there's a better place to trade queens over here. Maybe bishop b4 here is good. First, before I do all that. That looks like it would be good. I had to be winning at some point there. Close. Very close. All right, let's see which games are still going. Okay, this looks relatively even. But white does have a passed e-pawn. With the bishop, black should be able to stop everything. So I'm guessing this is going to just be a draw. Nine people are 3 out of 3. The person I played in the first round lost their last round game. It looks like Jerry is going to push for a win here. It's going to be hard to stop that c-pawn. Yeah, lots of people around our rating have the same score since we all had to play up a good bit 2 of the rounds so far. How many games do we have left? Only 7 games left. And he's saying, if you push your c-pawn, I'm going to push my d-pawn into a queen's. So here, here, here. Oh, he just takes it. That works. And now he shouldn't be able to stop the c-pawn. Here. Oh, he can't because it'll be with check. He'd be able to take on b5 with check. But now the c-pawn's running. Nope, now he's starting to take the bishop with check. Okay. King c5. Yep. Now the knight doesn't have any checks. So maybe here, here, and sacrifice. So perhaps you don't play. Perhaps you don't play. Okay, so he blocks off the bishop. So now if we push the pawn. Take the a-pawn. Nope. Okay, just keep walking up the board. Uh-oh. Is that check important? Maybe not. Check. Okay. Can't go there because it's covered by the pawn. And now he can sacrifice. Right? No, not yet. Now sacrifice. Guess there's no need to. Okay, that's it. Next round should be starting very soon. Okay, these two games are still going apparently. Oh no. White is not doing a good job of winning this. Yeah, just create a winning king-pawn endgame. Bring the king in. There you go. No, now just take the rook. Black's still defending. Okay, so can White show technique here? It's definitely a win, but it's not always the easiest win. Got to bring that white king closer. There you go. Okay, bring the king closer. King F. Okay, that works. He's struggling here. Gotta try and get his king to the edge of the board. Just like with a lot of checkmates, that's the key. Oh, and he won anyway. His opponent could not defend with his limited time. He ran out. Okay, and our next game's starting. Wow, paired up again. Okay. Briefly looking for weaknesses. This square maybe. Okay, let's develop our knights. Develop our bishop. Now, how do I get my queen involved? Maybe some plan like this? That might be something. Yeah, I don't think I mind that plan. Just have to find a way to get my king safer later. Not sure what that's about. Trying to keep my knight out. Here. Okay, let's play A3. Still thinking about playing B4. Knight D5 might be good at some point. Interesting. All right, let's take it. Guess we'll try and get rid of his best piece. Bring my queen closer. This square is well defended. We're both playing a bit fast so far. I can actually kingside castle here. He wants the queen trade. That's kind of surprising. But I guess I don't have a lot of choice in the matter, do I? I can queenside castle here, which is also interesting. I don't think there's much to be said for taking his queen. Okay, now I can save my queen, take his queen. Maybe rook e8, just to guard that square. Makes sense first. So if I can dislodge his knight, then I can try and play d4 in some positions. Queen a6, I can play my king up. Okay, he's decided that he no longer wants the queen trade. But now I can try and get rid of his knights. and get in here. I think my queen should be better here. Maybe I should have thought more. Maybe the G knight should go there. Maybe not. Because now I'm going to get to take with my knight. This position should definitely be better for white. Queen e6 check, knight takes d6 are ideas. Okay, I think it's another situation where I want to keep the queen. Keep the pieces on the board. Try and win this. Now I should be able to pick up that pawn, I would think. Some maneuver like this. Queen b1. Or do I attack the queen now? Queen b1, knight e5. Queen b1, knight e5. I can't play f4 like I thought. I attack the knights. Attacks the queen. I'm worried about my knight getting trapped. I could always come back to g4 and then f2. Yeah, so I shouldn't be worried about getting trapped. Okay, now I do have the option of trying to play c4, which I was looking at, which guards the knights. This seems better. Running a bit low on time. My opponent is a pretty fast player. My position should still be good. Interesting. Trying to win a pawn here. That's all we're trying to do is win a pawn and go from there. Bring up those standings again at this point. All the top games are still going. Here I can take with rook. I can also, I'm taking with rook's just best. It's technically a pawn trade, but does he really want to take on a3? Oh, maybe it's not a pawn trade. Maybe I play, yeah, I can attack the knight and get down the a file. Okay, if I play my knight up to e4, then he's going to play d5. If I play my king to d1, then what? My king to d1, he moves his queen onto the file. If he does that, then I can move my knight. I think. Yeah. Maybe. King's not super safe here. Yeah, maybe if he just goes to the e file, I'm pretty stuck. Although I get to do everything with check. Oh, he goes that way. I thought that was going to be a mistake, but maybe not. Okay, so I guess I end up giving up the exchange then. I don't give up the exchange. He can't take my rook, or I have knight takes f6. And now I've blocked the diagonal. And I can play rook takes d6, d6, not f6. A little disoriented. Okay, so what if I now play rook takes? Is that any good? Or do I just move my queen out of the way now? Rook takes, knight takes, queen b3 is probably the safest. Let's play a safe move here. Trying to open some space for my queen. I'm under a minute. But my king is safe now. He can go after the queenside pawns, but that seems like it would be quite the sacrifice of time, that is, here. And then I can take on b5 and play queen a2, and my queen's coming into the game quickly. So I don't think he can afford to take the g-pawn. The only question would be, okay, that wasn't my question, but my knight's still guarding my rook. My only question was if he could play queen f1 and bring his rook to e1, and that might have been winning for him, because maybe my king can't really escape then. Now what's his knight doing? Trying to take my rook. That's what it's doing. Darn, are we still going down the exchange here? Maybe we are. Okay, we'll take here. Yep. Maybe. Maybe it's still complicated. Probably not. Okay, well. He's making this harder than it was, I think. Maybe he thought that queen a6 was mate. Yeah, it just got too low on time. Although, still a tricky position. He's down to 2.5 minutes. Okay, where's his check? If I go something like this. And if he... Okay, that's his check. Okay. Out of time. Couldn't figure out in time. If I go here, he checks here. If I go back, it's hard to say. Hard to say. Okay, we'll get out of that one. So what's going on here? Black has 2 pieces for a rook and has an extra pawn. And white is low on time. There are only 3 players so far that have 4 out of 4. So that feels like less than last time. This guy in first just missed out on qualifying last tournament. Yeah, white's going to run out of time trying to defend this position. Bring the bishop back with check and then queen. Now I can go after the H pawn also. Just bishop F2. We'll do it at some point. But he's playing fast. Oh no! Bishop F5 won the rook in that last position. Okay, he's going after the pawn. But it is pretty hopeless for white here. Now the bishop's on a safe square. Oh no, that's a stalemate. Oh. That's painful. And the next game's already going. That was quick. Julius 3000 is our next opponent. This square is kind of weak. Maybe we'll look to open up my queen right away. Perhaps I'd be happy to trade off light squared bishops. I'm not sure. Try and win this pawn. So there are only 3 players with 4 points. Wow. Let's get this knight involved. Still targeting this pawn. Wow. Okay. Guess we'll bring this bishop back a little bit. Take with the knight. Seems reasonable. Or not. The same tactic that I was trying to avoid before. Oh, but maybe it's okay. Doubtful. Okay, so if I take the knight, no, if I take this knight, no, none of that looks good. Hit this rook. And then queenside castle, maybe. He's trying to fork everything. Gotta go backwards. Still need to find some tricky moves. But all the tricks have been my opponent's so far. Now he's going into the think tank, which is probably what I should have done earlier. That seems like a strange move. I'm going to try and play B4 was my idea. Because I can't really get rid of that knight. This bishop's very stuck. A little worried about something going to F6. Okay, let's just try and kick this knight. Okay. He definitely has to be a bit careful here. So he's just going to give me that pawn. I'm going to take it. And then maybe I can put my bishop on b6. Okay, he just went after that. I can play bishop. That's not a check, so I don't want to do that. I can attack the rook and the knight. That seems reasonable. He guards the knight, and then I play my bishop to attack the rook. That seems good. Okay, the game's getting messy, which is exactly what I need to happen. So what can he do here? He moves the knight. I take the rook. I guess he could play something like Queen d4 is probably not good because of bishop b6 again. Bishop b6 is going to be powerful. I also just have knight e2 in a bunch of positions, which looks strong. So tactically, things are turning around here. So here, my opponent is threatening checkmate. Okay, I've got some checks I can throw in, but doesn't seem ideal. Bishop check. Maybe tactically it isn't turning around. So with that move, I can't take his knight since it's not with check. Is there a way to get it so it is with check? Bishop b6 check. Doesn't seem to help. Knight check. Knight check could be good. Knight check, king goes to a2, then what? Okay, goes there. Onto a light square. Yeah, I don't think there's any way to stop mate here. Wow. Yeah, bishop takes. Nothing I can do there. Tough one. All right, let's see what's happening in the standings. This is one of the top games. So this guy is 5 out of 5 so far. And our player with the white pieces is 4 out of 4. There's only one player with 5 out of 5. So that queen's really stuck on h8 here. The black king looks like it might be a little more exposed, but f3 is a bit weak. And our player with the white pieces is down under a minute. Player with the black pieces is over 8 minutes still. And up a pawn. Okay, black seems to be doing quite well here. Well, I think the person with the black piece is already qualified. Okay, let's see what other games are going on here. Let's take a look at how my opponent in the first round is doing. He had 3 out of 4. In this position, he's up a piece. King looks like it would be pretty safe on h1. Can't go to h2. Now, if white can find a way to get multiple pieces on the 7th rank, that would be good for them. Or if they could collect this h-pawn. Okay. Wins that pawn. Maybe bishop g2. Nope, not worried about rook g1 check. Rook takes, pawn takes, check, king takes. Queen h2, check. The king moves over to f1 and there's nothing left. Okay, so he's safe. Rook g1 check does not seem to work. Rook check, pawn takes check, king takes, queen takes, king goes to f1, and you've got one more check with queen f3, but the king steps up to e2 and is safe. How many games do we still have in this round here? Still quite a few games, so we've got a few minutes until the next round begins. longer looking at finish. Let's take a look at this game with Jerry playing. Okay, he's got 2 rooks and a knight, so he's up in exchange. But his opponent has 1 pawn for it. It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Unless his king's going to get in trouble here. Rook d4, king b3. Check there. Is he going to get checkmated? He's probably going to have to give up the piece with knight c3. Yeah, he's probably going to have to give up his knight. Oh, he goes that way. I didn't even consider that. Didn't realize that square was safe. Now block with the knight. Or does he consider blocking with the rook? Okay, blocks with the knight. Also frees up the a4 square for the king in some cases. Is he trying to play knight a3 check maybe? Yep, he plays knight a3 check. Okay, the king steps up. Still surviving. And play knight c2 check, but then what? Now he's got to play knight e3 check. And the king goes back, so I don't see how white can make any more progress. Oh, he just retreats. Okay. "20 seconds left for white. It's going to be a little bit of a time scramble. Yeah, now that he didn't keep checking black, it's not looking good. Because that b2 square is impossible to guard. There's one player with 5 out of 5. Okay, so we ran out of time. We've got 5 games left. None of them top games. So we're just trying to get to the next round now. Just trying to finish up. Okay, I thought I picked one, but I guess not. I did. Okay, he's just thinking. Okay, black is completely winning this position, so that's going to be over. Okay, white has an extra knight, but black has some pawns. King takes and rook a3. Maybe rook a3 next. Okay, he just goes after the g pawn. That makes sense too. Black may even be winning this. If ever rook h7 or b7 check, the king will take on c3. Oh. Okay, he just gives it up. Gives up his rook. Now black should definitely be winning. Because you can't stop the h pawn. Okay, so that's going to be the end of that game. This game's still going. Rook pawn endgame, and he's about to run out of time. Nope, still surviving. Black has the extra pawn. And how does white plan on stopping that g pawn if black just plays king d6 and or king c6 and then king d5? Rook d6 seemed good there too also. Okay, now just push the pawn. And that's going to be it. All right. So now the next game should be starting. Is that other game still going? Got another queen. So white is choosing to play on. I feel it's bad that he's losing to that player, I guess. Now go king c8 to stay away from the checks. You want to be 2 squares diagonal from the knight, but this should work fine. Just take it. And checkmate. All right. Very nice by him. And we're on to the next game. X out of that old one. Okay, let's think here. Okay, let's go with this move. Let's develop our knight. And maybe push this pawn. Let's get some space, open up the queen. We'll guard the pawn. I could push c4 and just say that if you're going to take the pawn, you're giving up 2 pieces, but let's try and keep everything for now. I'm not going to be going kingside this game. At least I'm not planning on it. Let's kick him back. Maybe knight c3. And then maybe bishop d3. I guess I might be on king side. I'm not going to go queen side. It just feels backwards since the king started on the left. Okay, got his bishop developed. Let's get my bishop developed. Maybe I could have tried to go after the a7 pawn earlier. And still go after it. Might just not be as effective. There might have been some smother mate opportunities. I guess knight c3 was probably happening no matter what. Okay, well that's interesting. He's going to back up. Let's attack both of these then. So I might not be going king side either. Yeah, he just gives up the bishop. Okay, kick that bishop back also. I don't necessarily want to open the c file, but if he takes, maybe I take with the b pawn and open the b file. That might be good for me. Yeah, something like this. Okay, and attack the pin knight. And that should win the knight. The knight moves, he gets checkmated. Okay, what do I take with here? Do I take en passant first? Or do I push the pawn? That looks even stronger. Because it's guarded by my knight. I'm not worried about him taking this pawn with check. I'll just move my king. Looking more for a way to try and checkmate him. My dark squared bishop isn't super good here. Ooh, okay, his king's on the run. We'll just take the knight for now. Then maybe queen a5. Okay, he sacrifices. let's step up here. The idea is that I can put the bishop on c3. And take my knight, but then I play bishop c3 and I'm able to get my queen in. And my king should be pretty safe at that point. His knight still doesn't have a great square to go to. Okay, so here. Now, if queen a2 check, I can't play rook b2. That's important. Because then he can take the rook because the bishop's pinned. So instead, I've got to go to d3. If he checks me again, then I come back to c2 instead. And then I can play rook b2. Or maybe I go down to c1 instead. Because if I go to d3, no, my queen's covering c3, so that should be fine also. But it did turn out to be a little more dangerous than I expected. As his time is ticking down. Okay, so here I'm going to go up. The bishop captures, I'll take with the queen. Okay, here I'm going to c2. Okay, now I can block with the rook. Here. Okay, he's out of checks. And he still can't take my knight because then I take his bishop first. And now if he takes my knight, I take on c7 with check. And then do I queen? Yeah. And now my rook should be quite good in this position. I don't think I'm worried about it, what his king is doing. No. Let's go like this, try and undouble my f-pawns. Try to set up a position where I can create a passed pawn. And then I want to start looking for positions where I can give back the exchange for a winning king-pawn endgame. Okay, let's just get these pawns rolling. Seems like a reasonable idea. Make sure everything's guarded. threat here is to push the pawn with check. King steps up, and rook g5 would be mate. So he stops that idea. Let's come over here, keep his knight caged in. Now the idea is to play rook c7 and then try for e5 check, winning the knight. Okay, where is that knight going? Let's keep him out of this square. Now I can push the d pawn to create a passed pawn if I want. And also check. Okay, I guess I should take here. Okay, now let's create this passed pawn. Check. He has to guard the knight now. Not the smoothest game ever. Yeah, let's go way back this way. Couple situations there where I could lose my rook. And the longer I keep the h-pawn, the easier it will be to win. Okay, so here we'll throw in a check on this square. And here. Still making this challenging, aren't I? Guess we'll go after this pawn then. I still have to be careful not to drop my rook to a knight fork. Plenty of time, so I should just try and use it. Okay, see if I can get my pawn a little closer. Attack the knight. That seems powerful. Too bad it's an h-pawn that I have. That certainly makes things more challenging. Okay, this check looks good. Keep his king cut off. That's what I needed. Now his king's not a threat to my pawn. Okay, his king can't get my pawn. So now I think we step up and start trying to threaten checkmate. Force him to move. Threaten checkmate. And that should win the knight. He steps over, I go check. Okay, wins at least the pawn. Now I play this check. And if the knight blocks, I take the pawn. If the king steps up, I check again and I get the knight. Okay, so we got the pawn. Take, king takes, take. Okay, it's a draw if I do that. So I can't take the knight yet, but I can get my king a little closer. Trying to get his king cut off. Okay, let's push the pawn a little bit, see what he does. Check. Can't go to f8 because that loses the knight. Okay, that one was a challenge to win, for sure. All right, that puts us on 2 out of 6 again. So, not going to qualify this time, but another pretty good tournament. So we're going to end the recording here, and I will see you guys for the next qualifier.